before I get too deep into this, the premise of this article, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of business, is that for too many people in business have made email their primary, or wish to make email their primary way of communicating with their colleagues, their customers, so forth. And there's a lot of research done to show that what you think you're communicating in the body of an email can be radically different from what people take from that communication. They're simply lacking the audio and visual cues from the person on the other end of that email as to whether or not they understand what you're saying. Are they understanding the meaning of what you're saying? It's like the old expression that it's not what you say as much as how you say it. You can take away a lot of different meanings from different phrases. It was Dale Carnegie, I believe that's who it is, who made a statement and put emphasis on each different word of that statement, and it came out with a totally different meaning each time it was said. So the Dr. Jekyll, pardon? Oh, okay. That was the effervescent Cindy here at Frugal Brothers, and give you an example. He said, for example, I didn't say he beat his wife. Very factual based. Okay, that was the basic statement. But then he changed it and said this way. He said, I didn't say he beat his wife. Changed the meaning dramatically. I didn't say it, but somebody else said it. He goes, I didn't say he beat his wife. No, that means I said something else. I didn't say he beat his wife. And so on. Well, you get the idea. You get the idea with those couple of examples. So that's what I'm talking about, meaning. The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of business, it is a necessary thing that we use email. And it's very, very, it's a wonderful, empowering technology. It allows, an instantaneous transmission of information to where we need it to go to. It's very economical. There's a lot of practicality. But human beings get cues from a person's state. We're trying to interpret the state of mind of the author, where they're coming from, what level they're coming from, because there's various forms of communication. And so I had a individual that I dealt with on a pretty routine basis in business who preferred method of communication is email. I don't know whether the person is essentially maybe a shy individual, but or maybe requires time to organize their thoughts. But I understand it. But that individual didn't understand that that's probably not the best way to communicate. I guess the whole point of the blog is this. Before we go into all the points, if I can just summarize it, it is email is great when you're doing a complicated negotiation of some kind. If you're busy sending facts about a scenario or something back and forth, that is great for that sort of thing. But when you're trying to build relationships with people, especially in your sales and marketing end of things or customer service, not necessarily is email the most conducive and best way to do business. Especially if you're trying to get a complex point across to somebody, or if you want no mistake to be made in what you're trying to communicate. If you want to be 100% certain, or much more certain, let's put it that way, then a telephone call is just as effective, maybe more effective, then certainly an email. At least we might be able to pick up the inflection because we're trained to do that. We just know instinctively to listen to that inflection in your voice. We're listening, oh, he sounds angry. This sounds happy. This is a good news. This doesn't sound good. And so all that inflection is absolutely missing in the body of the email. So if we want to make sure that the recipient of our message fully understands that message, then we need to look at the approach and say, look, we're all basically egocentric. All of us. It's about me at the end of the day. It's about me. And when we read an email, we're going to get out of it however we're feeling at that time. And if we're, look, if we're happy and things are going great, we're going to take away a meaning from an email that maybe we shouldn't. Or if we're depressed and we're angry, we've had a bad day, we wrecked the car, whatever, we got in a fight with our spouse, and we sit down and read an email from our boss, we're angry, we read that from an angry point of view, that email. And that certainly may not be what we want to convey in the message to the recipient. So we tend to forget that the reader takes away from reading an email what's in their emotional state, not ours. And so the whole meaning of an email can be totally screwed up because of just the medium itself. There's an appropriate time to use email as a tool, and there's an appropriate time to use the phone. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot run a business, get customers, grow relationships, and do it strictly by email. It just ain't going to work, and you are making a huge blunder if you think you can. So don't do it. Don't let your employees get in that habit of dealing with all of your customers strictly by email. Don't try to run your company that way, because you're not going to like dealing with people 100% by email, and neither is your customers or your clients. So that's what I wanted to say that before we got started.